All right, first order of business is the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, thank you. Madam Secretary, would you like to do roll call?
Sure. Chair Carmelo Oquendo, absent. Vice Chair Member Philip Lantry.
Present.
Russell Alexander, absent. Nanette Douglas.
Here.
Dawn Grisby.
Present.
Stacy Snyder.
Here.
Mr. Chairman, we have a quorum, and Ms. Snyder will be a voting member this evening. And that is all.
All right, thank you. All right, so first order is the approval of the minutes from the Planning Commission meeting on December 17th. Has everyone reviewed the minutes, and does anyone have any questions or comments? All right, somebody like to make a motion?
I move to approve the minutes from the last meeting.
I second.
All right, everybody in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Passes.
Motion passes.
4-0 passes. Yes, sir.
All right. First action item is resolution number 2025-013R, cloud storage. CNU 24-00005.
Good evening, Commission. Tisha Manning, Zoning Manager for the City of St. Cloud Community Development. The project before you is for a conditional use for cloud storage that will be located at approximately north of Nolte Road, east of Pine Chase Circle, and west of Progress Lane. It is a conditional use, and staff is recommending approval with conditions. It's approximately 2.2 acres. So right now, it is located within Stevens Plantation, which is a PUD. The future land use is low density residential. The proposed conditional use, again, is going to be a storage facility. It's going to be 3-story climate control storage facility, exterior storage units, as well as a perimeter drive aisle, fenced in with security gates. This is just a graphical depiction of where the storage facility would be located within within the Stevens Plantation. You can see here it is at the end of a cul-de-sac and does back up to some residential. This is the concept plan of the storage unit and kind of how it will be set up, as well as the fencing and the interior. This is just another view again of the storage facility. It shows you here, there's no roll-up doors that will be visible from the outside along any right-of-ways. They do have some visible here, but that is going to be behind their other facility. That again, you won't see any of those roll-up doors. This is the south elevation of the facility, which would point out to the right-of-way. The proposed east elevation, again, these doors will be behind another building in which you won't see these facing out to the right-of-way. Okay. Again, staff does recommend approval of this resolution 2025-013R with the following conditions. The approval of the requested conditional use does not constitute the approval of the provided concept plan as a site plan. Changes to the site will require approval of a site development plan and any additional approvals required by the Land Development Code. Vehicles for hire, such as Ryder, U-Hauls, etc., are not permitted at this location. Staff request that the Planning Commission recommend approval of resolution 2025-013R with the conditions as stated by staff. Staff is available for questions as well as the applicant is available.
Thank you. Does anybody have any questions for the
I have a question.
staff as submitted?
In this area with the building, are there any codes that dictate the height of the building?
Because this one is predicted to be a 3-story, correct?
Correct. It is a three-story. So within that PUD, they do have some height requirements in their commercial area, as well as our land development code will determine the height of the building. This building does not exceed the height that is stated in their PUD.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Any other questions?
Can you go back to the site map showing that aerial where it is? And did you say there was already a facility there?
No, there's no facility there.
I
So-
believe it's a vacant lot.
Correct.
Mhm.
Yes, this is where the facility is proposed. And I was just showing that it's going to be kind of at the end of a cul-de-sac and it's going to back up to residential. So traffic won't be one of the major concerns because that area, how you come in, is going to dead end.
Okay, thanks. I think I misunderstood. I thought it backs up to residential, not another building.
Correct.
Okay, and when you say back up to residential, then they don't, it's not where their front is viewing the storage facility. Is that correct? Or,
No, so the residential is here. So this is their backyards.
hmm,
And what's next to the right of the, yeah.
I believe that's vacant as well. I'm not exactly sure. Because this is the corporate campus in Stevens Plantation. So all of this is designed to be some type of commercial use there.
Thank
okay.
you. That's what I
Yeah,
was
there we
looking
go.
for. Clearly with the size of the lots, I guess.
Thank you. Is the applicant here and would you like to speak?
Good evening, Don Huey with ASCII Huey, 25 East 13th Street, St. Cloud, Florida. Yes, I am here to answer any questions or concerns. I might add that even though some of those facades that you saw, elevations that you saw, show windows on the south side and the east side, there are no windows on the west side which face the residential units. So that's going to be like just a wall over there essentially. So there won't be any units looking down into those rear yards. And there's a very good stand of existing trees along that property line that are to remain.
Between the residences and the beginning of your building.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay,
It's in an existing undisturbed landscape easement that is along the whole eastern or western side of this property that butts up to the single family residential there.
And is it a single in and out proposed for the,
Yes, single
Access.
in and out off the cul-de-sac. Yes. It's a single in and out and a one-way, so it's not like there's going to be two-way traffic in that. It's going to be one-way traffic, except for the few parking stalls that are in front. Right in the south side of it, there'll be a little bit of two-way access, but it's only going to be, so if you come in the cul-de-sac and turn right along the property line, you're going to follow that all the way around, going north, and then go to the west, come south, and then go back to the east, out the cul-de-sac. So it'll be kind of going around that building that you saw.
Will there be business hours? Will it be manned for a certain period of time?
No, there'll be a privacy gate with a code on it. And then there'll also be some fire concerns that we've met with fire on that we have to comply to within the building. So if there are any other questions, I'm here to try to assist.
thank you very much.
Yes, sir.
We appreciate it. All right. At this time, we will open public comment. Is anyone here in the public would like to speak? Have you filled out a form, sir? Okay, you can go ahead and speak, but you'll just have to fill out a form when you're done. So please state your name and address.
My name is Joey Rodriguez Sr. My address is 2452 Pine Chase Circle in the adjacent development. I am the president of the Homeowners Association, so I was here just when the city allowed the development of the office building right across from this, my concern was that, well, we had a concern at the time that I dealt with. I went to Mayor Hart at the time because there was windows that were facing the back of our residence, which they've since blacked out. But the other issue we've had is drainage, because that property is a bit higher than our development. And even though the city engineers did require a swale, the outfall from that property does allow for a lot more drainage into the back of the yard. So their yards are always wet during the rainy season. I mean, a lot more than the rest of our neighborhood. So my only other I had two concerns. One was answered by the developer, was that there's no windows facing there. Two, I'm just concerned to make sure that there's proper drainage that doesn't negatively affect our residential community. And then I was concerned about the drive aisle along the outside, just to make sure, like, if there's a trash can in there, because we do have other issues with another recent development where people throw trash on our side of the fence. So I just wanted to make sure that that is, and then if we, if they install security cameras, that the security cameras are not pointed in a method where it would look into the back of the houses in our neighborhood. And those are my concerns. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Does we have anybody else from the public that would like to speak on this? All right, at this time, we will be closing public comment. Would the applicant like to come up and address some of the concerns that were voiced?
Certainly, thank you. So yes, there will not be windows on the west side. All impervious or paved areas will be what we call inverted crown. So typically a road is crowned like this. This is going to be an inverted crown. So the drainage is going to come to the middle of the road and collect it in drainage inlets. And north of this property is the master pond for the corporate campus area, which we will be outfalling into. The grassed area along the east side, I know you can't see it on here very well, but it's a wide swath of clear land where we're not showing anything. That's the existing landscape easement. We do plan to put a small swale in there, but that swale is only going to collect the yard area, collecting that swale. It's not going to be any impervious because it's all going to come to the center and be collected in a pipe conveyance system and outfall into that existing pond. So hopefully that helps the concern of the drainage.
What about the swale on the west side of the property? Would that pretty much be existing and stay?
That I was talking about
as it
the
is?
west side, yes, sir. There will be a small swell on the east side, but the west side is what I was.
Oh,
was
okay.
more
I'm sorry. I
focused
thought you
on,
were
yeah.
talking about the east side.
No, there will be a small swell on the east side as well, but I was trying to address the concerns of the west
Yeah.
side and the backyard.
And then what type of fence is between the drive aisle and the edge of the property? Is there a
There-
fence of any?
There's not a fence. Right now, like I say, we've got that existing good stand of trees. That's pretty much an opaque fence, so to speak. It's just a lot taller. And we would like to not disturb that root system or anything by putting anything in front of that. And a wall could also not cause additional drainage, but it could cause the effects of trying to create a way to get the drainage out, because now that wall is going to act as somewhat of a buffer, if you will. So we're hoping to not have a wall and just use that 30-foot existing easement as an easement. We're also planning on throwing some additional landscape in there as well per the city code.
And then the other question that I don't think was addressed yet was about a dumpster. Is there a proposed
There is a dumpster.
location?
If you're looking at this plan, the dumpster is on the upper left-hand corner. You can see where the truck kind of looks like it pulls in and comes back out.
Yeah.
The blue line kind of goes in and comes out. That's the dumpster.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, I could definitely see the concerns of the residents there. If things don't make it into the dumpster and there's no buffer, as far as like a physical man-made buffer, how does it keep, any kind of garbage or cardboard, anything like
Yeah,
that?
well, there
from-
will be a wall around the dumpster itself.
Oh, okay. Right, a dumpster enclosure. Okay.
And then because of that 30-foot buffer, there's no concern about the cameras, as they had mentioned.
No,
Are
the
you going to have any
cameras,
of that?
and I'm not going to be the guy out there putting the cameras on for sure. We're just the engineering firm. But I assume that the cameras are going to be facing down the building and in the drive aisle areas and not out toward the landscape buffer. They're more concerned about the building itself and the conveyances within and not anything out in the landscape buffer. So yeah, they would be adjusted so that we're not, for lack of a better term, spying on our neighbors. Right?
Well, that makes sense. We just wanted to make sure we said
Yes.
it out loud
Yes,
for
ma'am.
them.
Is there any storage unit doors on the west side of the building? I know you'd said there was no windows, but
No, I don't think there is, and I'm not sure how to back up. Give me a second here to look at the west side.
did we have that in our slides? Did it have a west?
I'm not sure I
Facing
saw the
elevation?
west side in there. have it here.
So as the engineer just verifies, I want to state that there are no, on that west side, it's just a blank wall that's gonna, be architecturally compatible for our code, but there's nothing slated to be on that wall. No windows, no rollout doors, nothing.
There is one, sorry. There is one entry door toward the front or the south corner of the building, but it's a walk-through door. It's
Yeah,
a standard
okay.
walk-through door. Yep. And that's it on that side. No other doors are proposed or windows.
And Tisha, this will still go in front of city council at their next meeting, correct?
Correct. Yes. So just so you guys can see, so the door that he's talking about is literally like right here. It's just one little small door that's gonna be right here. And it's probably just for them to access this interior.
Or emergency exit or something like that, yeah.
Yes.
So yeah, keeping that in mind for any of the Pine Chase residents, this will be in front of city council at their next meeting. Do you have any other concerns? Anybody else have any questions for the applicant?
No.
Okay. Like to entertain a motion at this time. Anybody like to make one?
I'd like to make a motion to recommend approval of resolution number 2025-013R based on the 6 findings of within the land development code, along with the conditions proposed by staff.
I second the motion.
All right, I have a first and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Is that everybody? Okay.
Any opposed?
Any opposed?
Passes
All
4-0.
right, thank you. All right, next is ordinance number 2025-01, LaSalle Avenue. And this is an annexation number ANX 23-00005.
Good evening, Ralph Keith, Associate Planner with Community Development Department. The case before you tonight is for a construction annexation for the project known as LaSalle Ave. Under Florida state statute, the city is required to voluntarily annex real property if it meets the criteria of being reasonably compact, adjacent to city limits, and with the owner's consent. Due to a scrivener's error, we are seeking to correct the annexation by excluding 2 parcels adjacent to the parcel listed in ordinance number 2024-52, as the owner of those parcels did not consent to a voluntary annexation. Ordinance number 2024-52 approved the parcels referenced in the depiction on the next slide, which did not meet state requirements for voluntary annexation, including criteria related to the property owner's consent. Here's the depiction of the 2 parcels that will need to be removed from city boundaries.
Mr. Chairman, if I could just, and I don't mean to interrupt staff, but just to make a quick statement, this is a very unusual situation that came up, as I'm sure staff will illuminate, in the 27 years that our firm has been working with St. Cloud. I think this only came up one other time. So this is a very unique, and it's essentially correcting an error that took place, as I understand, staff will illuminate, when other properties were annexed into the city. These properties were affected and included when they should not have been, as was reflected by a legal description that was in error. And so staff is seeking to correct on behalf of those properties to contract that annexation as it affected those properties. And as I think staff had mentioned, the property owners did not wish to be annexed in, so they're in favor of this contraction, is my understanding. So
I'm
just
sure
to
it's
help you with
been
that.
difficult for them.
Yeah, definitely.
Thank you.
I'm sorry, yes, Mr.
Thank you for elaborating. I
Thank you so
appreciate it.
much.
Sure.
Per Florida State Statute 171.051, ordinance number 2025-01 will amend the municipality's boundaries to remove the annex parcels from the city's jurisdiction and return them to unincorporated Osceola County. On this slide, this is a depiction of the parcel in red at top was the initial parcel that was supposed to be annexed. And then the two in blue below it are the two that were also included, which will be removed.
So the one in red will still be part of the city. The one in the other two will be removed. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay.
Staff recommends approval of ordinance number 2025-01. The staff is available for any questions.
Thank you. Anybody have any questions for the city staff? Okay. We'll move on to public comment. Do we have anybody here that would like to comment on this ordinance? Okay, we will close public comment at this time. Any other discussion?
And just checking my understanding, you said the people whose properties these are in agreement with the idea of not being part of the city.
That is my understanding. That's correct. And I was advised today in speaking with the city attorney that staff had made direct contact with one of the property owners to affirm that again. And the other property owner had been, they had reached out to, but had not made contact today. But that it was their understanding that these properties were accidentally included by
Okay.
way of an incorrect legal. And so the city has affirmed that the affected properties did not wish, nor did they file for a voluntary annexation, which would be required, even if they tonight were here and said, you know, we'd like to be annexed in, they'd have to go through the process with a voluntary application for such. So,
Understood.
but city believes that they do not wish to be a part of the city. And so this is a corrective measure that the city is recommending be taken.
All right.
And if I could, Mr. Chairman and commission members, because it's a contraction of annexation, you know, the 16 factors, land of code, none of those things.
I was just going to say, is it a de-annexation?
It's
rather than-
essentially, you know, a deliberation and then a recommendation as to accepting the staff's proposal.
Okay. Thank you for clarifying that.
Of course.
Would we like to make a motion?
I would, I'm just not really sure how to say it. So I was going to use the de-annexation word, but that didn't seem like that was the right thing to do. So I guess I would like to,
Contraction of annexation.
I would like to make a motion to recommend approval of staff's recommendation to contract the annexation of the said properties for resolution, ordinance number, 2025-01.
All right, I think that works. Do I have a second?
I second.
All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All opposed? All right, motion passes.
This is 4-0. Yes, thank you very much.
All right, so we have our next, well, is that the only order of business, next meeting? Okay, so we have our next planning commission meeting, February 18th at 6 p.m. And that is all on our agenda for this evening. So would we like to get a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Can I have a second?
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Meeting adjourned.
Have a good evening, everybody. Thank you.